Whenever you start to record. Okay, there we go. You know, we always have these little pre-conversations. I guess this is one of them. But anyway, welcome to another episode of Traveling Hoopers. Today, you have your host back. I know you missed me, Alan Pettigrew. And we got my man, Calvin McGowan, over on the other side. Go ahead and tell the people what's
What's
up.
what's up, everybody? I hope everyone's doing good today.
Yeah. So we don't got a lot of topics today, but one thing I definitely want to talk about is the Keyontae Johnson situation, the forward for the University of Florida. I'm pretty sure everybody has seen it by now. It is a tragedy and a very shocking moment, but he did collapse on the court during a game with Florida State. Uh,
hmm
the teams continued to play after getting him carted off, but we finally got some updates on his condition, which almost doesn't feel like an update considering in the headline that they originally had was medically induced coma, which is never a good thing. Like,
I just like it. The thing is, and like of course, as always, these types of things are like tragedy. You don't want to see anything like this happen. And it doesn't seem to be good. But it's from a standpoint of news or what have you. There doesn't seem to be a whole lot. Everybody who probably knows what's going on with him hasn't said a whole lot outside of the medically induced coma thing. Um, my understanding is that when that happened with him, um, Florida State offered to like postpone or like cancel the game,
yeah,
and I guess Florida ultimately just decided to go ahead and finish it up. Um, but hopefully he makes a speedy recovery. It's really a shame that this happened.
yeah, yeah. But I think the weirdest thing that I've seen from this is ESPN's changing of the headline of the most recent like updated article. Like, have you seen it?
I don't think I have.
Yeah, like a editor must have came through and like switched everything up. Like it's like they had a quote from Keyontae Johnson's grandfather. It's no
hmm
longer in there where they were talking about like how they did put him in a medically induced coma. But my biggest fear is one of the things that could happen with you having COVID-19 like he had in the summer is that the thing that can possibly make your heart enlarged. If it's that, like Keontae Johnson was considered possibly a lottery pick or at least a first round pick. I was listening to Sam Vincini's podcast and just like hearing this is it's weird and heartbreaking just like looking at the dynamic of everything, man. Yeah. And he was showing out already. 20 and 6. Praying for a speedy recovery though.
Yeah, that's about all anyone can do at this point.
Truly. Uh, I mean, in brighter news, it don't look like James Harden is going anywhere.
It does not. My understanding is like they've tried to be in talks with like the Nets and with uh
The Sixers
the
too.
Sixers. Yeah. Um, but like they're not. So how do I put this? Um, in the bluntest way possible, the Rockets aren't satisfied with effectively gutting the depth of the Nets. Um, but the Nets also aren't willing to move Kyrie Irving. Not that the Rockets are necessarily interested.
Yeah.
Um, and like the the Rockets want Simmons for like I guess an in like they want Simmons and pick to move to for the Sixers to get Harden, but like the Sixers aren't interested. Like
Yeah. You mean to tell me you're not coming up off none of your stars for Harden? Yeah, baby, you don't want this. I do think like the funniest part about this situation may be, yeah, good.
Where are you?
Can't.
You missed it. You talking about basketball now?
Oh, I missed the post or the pre debrief. My bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was up there coaching basketball, coaching the youth.
You good, bro? I figured.
Good.
But it is hilarious to hear that Sixers aren't trying to come up off any of their like star players, and the Nets were like, "We're not even gonna talk to you about KD."
You talking about the trade from the Rockets?
Yeah,
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
like
With
don't
them
even
trying to
like,
move Harden.
Yeah. Okay.
it's like,
Could you
don't
imagine Harden in Philadelphia though? Like that talent, like, that's like a blue collar, city. Like they like people who are they're rugged and hard, and you work hard on defense, and just people who are the quintessential like everyday working hard individuals, like their biggest uh, favorites for their sports teams. And Harden is not that. Like he is the opposite of that. He plays basketball the opposite of that. Can he play basketball that way? Maybe, but he hasn't shown us that since OKC, possibly. So I,
he
I,
locked up on it in that OKC series to close out. Got that little block.
2012.
No, like
This was a
Oh,
month
you
ago.
mean this
the
past year?
playoffs, the bubble,
I'm
yeah.
tripping. My bad. You're right. He did play good defense for one possession. Like, come on now. But I don't know. In Philadelphia, I mean, I personally would never make any trade. If I was Philadelphia, I wouldn't trade anybody for him because our team is younger and they have at least some kind of identity, right?
Yeah.
He would come in and like automatically shift everything, which I'm not necessarily sure in a good way. Granted, I'm a James Harden fan. I don't see that as being a fit. And in the Nets, if that were to ever be a possibility, there's only one basketball. Like that wouldn't work. Like there's only one basketball, and they have two all-time great scorers if James Harden were to go there, and James Harden and KD, and Kyrie, who is a Harlem Globetrotter in the NBA. You know what I mean? Like he just like I'm not sure if that would actually work though. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So because there's too many similarities in their game. Two people, okay, that could work, but three, no. And also, there's no way that they would ever get. There's no way that they would ever get James Harden without giving up KD or Kyrie. Granted, I would give up Kyrie for James Harden, but I'm not sure. But like, I'm not sure anybody else would, because James Harden has a stigma about him. But like Kyrie should have a similar stigma. Kyrie's stigma should be worse. But the only reason it's not worse is because he had that one season with LeBron James and won a championship. Like, or no, more than one season, but he won that championship season. That's the only reason he doesn't have a stigma. Because every other time Kyrie's like been a leader on a team, whatever, they don't do well, like at all. So he should have a worse stigma than James Harden, but for some reason he doesn't. So like no one would make that trade. But also like you don't know what Kyrie would do because he's kind of like off his rocker.
We'll get to that in a second.
Okay, my bad. I jumped the gun, but I didn't know how deep you guys are into this. But so I would make that trade, I would make a trade, but I'm not sure if anybody else would.
To catch you up a little bit, some of the stuff we were talking about is that for example, with talks with the Nets, they of course don't want to come up off Kyrie. I'm assuming they're not even discussing KD because that would be dumb. But like the Rockets don't want the Nets young players for real. Like they don't want like LeVert and Allen and Dinwiddie and whatever. And like that's basic. If you're the Nets, that's basically what you have to give them in like draft picks.
Yeah. Why doesn't Houston just blow it up at this point?
Is the Rockets organization so bad? Like, granted, there's been like some whispers, right? But like, is their organization overall so bad that James Harden doesn't want to play with John Wall? Like, John Wall's a really good player. So like, it's interesting, and I thought like on a personal level, they seem like they would get along. So it's interesting that like James Harden's like, no, whatever. Like, granted, I'm all about not loyalty to, or I am now, but I'm all about like not loyalty to like a specific team because like the teams are never gonna be loyal to you at the end of the day unless you're Mark Cuban with JJ Barea. But but it's interesting that James Harden, like I don't know, I just assumed it would fit like automatically on a personal level, a basketball level, but he's just like, nah, I'm done. So I guess there's like things about the organization that we just don't know.
Yeah.
Some of my limited understanding, at least like from like looking at some things here and there, is like one of the like perceptions with it is just kind of like the thing is like Harden had like a lot of input into the situation. Granted, what I will grant is that like again, my understanding is that for various reasons, his entire time there and before he got there, they've never gone over the luxury. Like they've never gone over the salary cap. They never paid They paid luxury. Since Morey got there, I think they paid luxury tax twice. I think. Um, but like my understanding is like Harden had input into like getting Westbrook and Chris Paul, whatever, and then like get to the point like he doesn't want to play with them anymore. It's kind of like, but like you asked, like you wanted this, and like like your organization made it happen. So some of a bit of perception, right or wrong, that it's kind of like you want out of a situation that you created, basically.
It's interesting. I was gonna say the exact same thing that you mentioned. That it's always funny how a superstar player, like a mega superstar player, as James Harden is, has so much control, right? I mean, you like that's a good thing. Player control is like that's never a bad thing. That's always a good thing. Player first, players over players over organization. But if you're going to be the type of superstar that has that kind of control, like a James Harden or like a LeBron or whatever, then when all fails, you can't be like, well, that's on y'all. You know what I mean? If all fails, you got to be like, you got to take some responsibility in that too, though.
Hear me out on this one. I think James Harden almost wants to leave because all of his front office friends are gone. Mike D'Antoni was the coach that literally was just like, you go do you.
He loved James Harden, yeah. The relationship was dope.
Do what you want. You run the show. Like, even when Kevin McHale was there, yeah, James Harden was getting buckets and whatnot. But
it's a different level. Yeah.
It's a completely different show. And then Daryl Morey leaves. So the person who you can kind of have
the guy who went to Philadelphia?
Yeah.
Okay.
Daryl Morey leaves. And if that's supposed to be like the GM who's going to give you the opportunities to go get your Chris Paul, go get your Westbrook, you don't got that no more. And I don't think their coach, Silas, he don't really play games like that, yeah. Because he was with Dallas last year. Well, he's been with Dallas for like years. But that whole like Dallas coaching staff,
yeah.
You ain't gonna be able to play around like that. And I think like Harden sees the writing on the wall, like you guys are saying. He's like, yeah, I'm gonna go somewhere else because you about to have me doing something that I don't want to do.
Okay, I mean that makes sense.
You know that roster. Have you seen their roster? Their roster looks completely different. I have no idea how to.
The Rockets roster was. I saw it. I mean, I saw I saw a little bit of the first pregame for the Rockets, and it doesn't look like the Rockets. I will say that.
Yeah.
But at this point, we're so used to the Rockets looking a certain way that I don't know. Like it just it's obviously the Rockets, but it is not set up the way we're used to the Rockets setting up. Even though DeMarcus Cousins still chucking up threes, but I mean, even though it still has Harden, who's supposed to play Tuesday.
Yeah.
And then it has Peter Tucker, and it has some of the core guys. But I mean, John Wall and Marcus Cousins by themselves makes that whole entire roster look completely different all alone. You know what I mean? Because granted, Westbrook was only there for a year.
Yeah.
Like, literally a year. Like he came in, they tripped into the Wizards, which honestly the Wizards don't have a bad team, like at all. And they're in the East, they might make the playoffs.
I think they might have some defensive questions though.
Say it again?
I said they might have some defensive questions though, because neither
Jones.
Burton's or Hashimura are exactly prolific defenders.
I
And
mean,
like I like Hashimura, but like
look,
he's just
granted,
not good right now.
definitely had defensive questions. First round out, but playoffs. like, like
That's fair.
I'm not saying they're going to be successful in any way, but they might be like an 8-7 seed.
Yeah, I almost think they might be able to get that 6.
I mean, they probably will. Just
Yeah.
because, but like, I think Russell Westbrook and Bradley Beal, that's going to end up being like a really entertaining and like legitimately like good, efficient. Russell Westbrook's not going to be efficient, but good, fun, a good, fun watching backcourt. And in the East, it's easy to get into the playoffs. Like, let's be honest.
Yeah.
So, like, if they're like even a little bit over 500, they'll get into the playoffs.
Gotcha. I agree with you on that. But I see that you two were about to have this conversation about Kyrie earlier. Let's go ahead and get to that. Did y'all see the video that he had with Kevin Durant where he was talking about getting 8 posted ups a game? Like, I don't know if that's a joke or not.
I hope it
I
is.
did not see that. That sounds.
Yeah. Katie was like, I mean, you could do like 2.5.
I am an adamant Kyrie hater. Like,
So strange.
not on the level of like my Draymond hate, but it's up there. And the only reason is because I think he is so overrated. It is insane. Like, I'll just give a couple reasons right now. One, he doesn't win without LeBron. 2, even when he had a chance to win with a good team in the Boston, they played better without him. 3, you watch him play the game, he generally just holds on to the ball too long, and not in like an efficient or good for the team Chris Paul way. It is a Kyrie way, and Kyrie has never been a good leader or a good basketball leader on the court, except when he played with arguably the greatest player of all time. And that goes for before LeBron showed up and after LeBron left, or after Kyrie left. I was like, okay, so like Kyrie's got that. He got that rub, kind of like how LeBron got that rub from Dwayne Wade when he went to Miami. You know what I mean? Like, oh, he knows how to win. He knows how to, he's coming to himself a bit more, especially watching that playoff series. But then he just didn't, and I was like, oh, that's just LeBron raising the stock of everyone around him. And but the thing is, Kyrie is when he's mesmerizing with the dribble, but like that's like appealing to like the casual basketball fan, and it looks nice and whatever. But I would easily take Dame Lillard over Kyrie any day.
But they're also in like different strategies.
All dominant. Look, the issue is Kyrie will go off the pick. They play they're ball dominant guards. Kyrie does a pick, does a spin move, tries to break your ankles, and then he'll like do a little step back and then do something creative to get the bucket.
Yeah.
Dame Lillard would just go off the screen and shoot. If the man steps up, he goes around him. Like it's like he's just a much more efficient player, and he's without a LeBron has like elevated the team around him. But all that being said, Kyrie got the LeBron rub, and for a lot of people, especially the casual basketball fan, that elevated his stock to a level that doesn't necessarily deserve to be as high as what it is. Outside of he's one of the whenever they talk about Kyrie, they go, Kyrie's one of the best dribblers in NBA history. At the end of the day, that means nothing. Like, what did Jason Williams win? You know what I mean? Like, at the end of the day, you being the best dribbler means nothing. Allen Iverson took his team to the NBA final, or no?
Yeah.
Yes. Allen Iverson took his team to the NBA finals for 1 year, then got smoked by the all-time great Laker team. But he took his team to the NBA final, and that's who they're like, he's up there. He's a better ball handler than Allen Iverson. But like, Allen Iverson didn't like play the way Kyrie plays, and that's a whole different thing. But if you're a great dribbler and people are raising your stock off of that aspect alone, then like that's not a good basketball point. I would say that. And that conversation always happens with Kyrie, and that's all I gotta say about that.
if I may, one just with the dribbling thing right quick, like this is something that you said, but like most people don't really know what they're talking about. So we can just kind of ignore that though. Like, yeah, the good ball handling can be fun to watch, especially when dudes are breaking ankles and stuff. But, like, so the thing, like you mentioned, hold on, where do I want to start? Okay, so the thing with you like give him the rub or whatever. So I think I was listening to something talking about this, and like the thing with LeBron was that like LeBron kind of wanted to be in like a mentor role, which I guess at one point Wade was for him. He take him, kind of show him like how to win and like gradually step back and everything.
Mm-hmm.
But like kind of big brother little brother type relationship. But like Kyrie wasn't feeling that
I
for
remember that. I remember that because when Kyrie was like, some reporter was like, asked him Kyrie some kind of question about like it was like a father son big brother like moment between him and LeBron. And the reporter was like, so Kyrie, like, how do you feel about LeBron? And Kyrie was like, I mean, he's not my dad, so like, I remember that. That's funny.
like and like I guess part of the consequence of that is like he never really learned a lot of the lessons that like he probably should have learned.
Mm-hmm.
Like in terms of like making teammates better and like stepping up in certain ways, like in his case, like defensively and in terms of like playmaking for your team and whatever. And just so like he doesn't want to be that like he doesn't want to be mentored or whatever. So he doesn't really learn the lessons, and he goes to Boston and like you said, the young Boston team played better without him.
Yeah.
If some stuff I was just kind of glancing at like ESPN or something, if you believe the young Nets team plays better with him on the bench, and like ultimately I think a lot of that is like one, he's not a very good leader, and his opinions on things are apparently kind of trash. Um, and this is ignoring like believing the Earth is flat and whatever. But like I think there was something I saw that like at one point he said some mess about like he didn't really view like didn't view Nash as like a head coach for real. Like there would be some kind of like partnership, and I think there was something I saw earlier where he's just like, scratch that. Like I don't really think we have a head coach or some mess, and it's
Yeah.
just like, sir, just at the very least shut up. Like at the very least you can stop talking.
Like one of my biggest issues was when he played for Boston. So that year he got hurt, and Boston did really well in the playoffs, right? Like unexpectedly well, I'll say that.
Right.
And then the next year he plays, and so during that playoff run where he was out, Jason Tatum was eating. Like he was eating. Like that's a playoff series where he dunked on LeBron. Like he was eating, right? And then the next year Kyrie comes back, and all these TV analysts, right? These quote unquote experts were like, "Oh, Jason Tatum's not like he's not what we thought he was. He's not great. He's regressed." And I'm like, "Yeah, he's regressed because of one player." Like Kyrie that year obviously was stunting the growth. Like it is what it is. It's his game. He was stunting the growth of the rest of the Boston Celtics. He leaves, they're doing great without him. With essentially the same players. You know what I mean? So I think that year kind of really shifted my dynamic, or those 2 years shifted my whole like understanding of the way I thought about Kyrie, because I have fallen prey to like I don't know the way Kyrie's been presented the entire time, right? And watching him play with the Cleveland Cavaliers and whatever. But then it just took the years after that championship run for me to realize like, oh, this guy's just literally a Harlem Globetrotter in the NBA. That's like what he is. Curly Neal was the guy's name who like is
I'm
on the
sorry,
ground.
argument though, the Globetrotters probably share the ball more than Kyrie. That's just
Yes,
honest
I
about
like that. I like that. You're right. The Globetrotters do share the ball more than Kyrie. But yeah, I 100% agree with everything you just said, Calvin. 100%.
So I guess I got to be Kyrie protector here. just looking at Kyrie's career, what else? If we go to his time at Duke, number one recruit already comes in, supposed to be that dude, only has the chance to play 11 games because of a broken foot. And then we go to his time in Cleveland, which is what, 7 years? He was in Cleveland for about 7 years.
I don't know. I don't remember.
I don't remember exactly.
It was the 4 after LeBron left, and then what, the 2, or was it? It was the 2 seasons with LeBron in Cleveland. Those 4 seasons, Cleveland was quite possibly the worst franchise in the NBA.
You want the first 2 seasons? The first 2 seasons before when Kyrie was there, you're talking about where the worst in the NBA.
Yeah, the first, I think his entire rookie contract, there was just 4 years where they were just really bad. They were getting lottery picks every single year, and they were getting dudes like Tristan Thompson, who's not a bad player.
Yeah, that's when they got Andrew Wiggins.
Yeah, there's
Deion Waiters.
Deion Waiters, yeah.
Gross. I like Deion Waiters, I really do.
Yeah,
but
let's not disrespect.
He's not Anthony Bennett.
Look,
so.
he's not Anthony Davis. He does not change the face of your franchise whatsoever.
Kyrie doesn't either.
Lily, that's not true. Your franchise gets a lot more fun. And
Kyrie's about winning.
Yeah, we're not talking about winning sometimes.
Yeah. Ask a Spurs fan if they care about fun.
Okay, Lily. We're not hearing about that. I'm telling you, every time we talk about Kyrie, it's never I don't know a time where we've ever talked about Kyrie, the leader or the winner. It's always been, hey, this dude is really fun to watch. That's literally what it's always been. I don't remember a single time where it's anything else.
But the issue is, he doesn't get presented as he's just fun to watch. He gets presented as a guy that can, you can tell right now, because of him and KD and the way they treat him in Boston. He gets presented as a guy who is a franchise changer. And it's no, he's not. He is.
But it's I can't think of any moments when he was actually
went to Boston. When you can't deny when he went to Boston, people thought of that.
Yeah, but
people thought that.
That's
now after that
he's being dumb though.
But at the end of the day, people are dumb. So people are being dumb, but people are dumb. So that's that. But that's still the rhetoric that was out there. And I used to see it on the Jump, Sports Center, Fox Sports 1. And those people are quote unquote experts, and they would say the exact same thing. I'm like, no, that's not true. But now he's with KD, and granted, I think they're going to be good. But once again, I think they're going to be good because of KD, not because of Kyrie.
Yeah.
And granted, KD isn't LeBron, right? KD's a more of a one-dimensional player than LeBron is, right?
Yeah.
And I'm not sure how that's legitimately gonna gel well. They might be a good team, but will they be a championship level team? I'm not sure. But they're put up there because of KD, not because of Kyrie.
No, I completely agree. But Kyrie's always been the fun dude that can get you 20 a game. It might not be the best possessions in the world, but he can get you 20 a game. And that's literally what it's always been. I completely agree with everything you guys are saying. And I really think where we lose the love for Kyrie is when he talks too much. Where it just what are you talking about, bro?
Well, he knows that. That's why he didn't want to speak to the media.
And I'm okay with that.
Opens his mouth, nothing great comes out.
Look, I saw people complaining about why is he talking? It's hey, do we really want more Kyrie quotes? I love Kyrie, I really do. He's really fun. I love his shoes. I own 4 or 5 pair of shoes of his. I'm not interested in really hearing what Kyrie has to say. Go ahead and dazzle us with these dribble moves, score 20, and I'm going to be very happy that you're an all-star. That's it. Any higher expectations for Kyrie is like you guys have been saying, you don't watch the game enough.
Yeah, I don't know. So wait, how are you defending Kyrie?
Oh, I'm just defending y'all kind of bashing on him. It's he's still really good. He's just He's just not.
Listen,
Hey,
me personally,
you just can't win with him as your best player.
And we never really expected that from him. Like, honestly, like you play like your first 5 or 6 seasons, they never even sniffed the playoffs.
see, my thing is this: like, there are
He was
people.
for 6 years, just to be clear, I guess. He was with Cleveland for 6 years.
Yeah,
See, my thing is like, you have people that play like Kyrie that do change franchises, though, right? Like, who are just like dribble scores, whatever, that do like they might not be as they might be a little more athletic or whatever, but they still.
I said we're like 6'8".
Derrick Rose.
I'm thinking of like the Jason Tatum stagnation. Go ahead, bro.
Derrick Rose. Derrick Rose and Kyrie should be in the same category. Take away athleticism, but Derrick Rose won, but before the injuries, all kind of stuff, right? Like Derrick Rose won before injuries, and he didn't have like the his team was good, but he was like the tip top of that good. You know what I mean? Like, but like Kyrie, he should be whatever he is, the tip top of like any team he's on. Hey, they ain't good, and that Boston team was really good. Let's not deny that. So yeah, I'm just like, I don't know. Yeah. I just kind of hate Kyrie.
My argument on that, I think that Boston team was really talented. I don't know if that. I wouldn't say the team. No, I'm being a hater. Never mind. They were kind of nice.
Jaylen Brown has turned into one of my favorite players in the NBA.
Oh yeah. I'm talking about like now and forever, but I'm talking about like specifically that season. You already had dudes. Like Kyrie didn't have to be there. Like Kyrie's not like you were saying, Kyrie's not the leader that you expected him to be. He's just the scorer.
Definitely the leader of that locker room was definitely Marcus Smart. Marcus Smart is one of my favorite like college players of all time. But like he was definitely like the leader of that locker room and still is. That's why he's still there. You know what I mean? Like, Kyrie I think there's more. I think you can make an argument that there's more negative attributes to Kyrie being on your team than positive. I'm saying you could probably
option. Yes, I completely agree with that. If he was your number 2, I think you can build around enough where he isn't a net negative.
He's a little too emotional for me. Like, he getting his feelings. He like Paul George. They all a little too emotional for me. I'm like, y'all need to relax, dog. Just hoop. Like, you play on teams with dudes who just hoop. But I'm like, y'all tripping.
Robot. That's what that is. On like emotion.
So actually related to that though, and granted, this is something that ESPN made me think about, but like I think they have a point. Is it like it's like if the Nets become a dumpster fire, which would be totally out of the question, because like Phil said, they're kind of like your 2 best players are kind of like they're kind of sensitive and like they like to talk. And like they're in New York, a place not known for being particularly kind to that kind of mentality. And so like, and besides that, it's kind of there's I feel like there's kind of a question of like who's gonna be the leader, if you will. Like it can't be Kyrie. It just can't. Right? Like it's just not gonna work.
Kyrie passion is fine.
Now,
I love
it. KD possibly, but it's still just like you can kind of like it's not that hard to like get him into his feelings and just kind of like in his own head.
But here's the thing: KD has never truly won as the leader of a team. Golden State, he was not the leader. That was definitely Steph. Like you can do what you want. Steph is that leader. And you can make an argument that Draymond was more of a leader on the team, and that's why KD left because of the butting of the heads, whatever. But at the end of the day, Steph is more of a leader on that team than Draymond is. And when they played for Oklahoma City and they took the Golden State to the final or to the Game 7, they went to that team. I'm sorry, that still bothers me that he went to Golden State. But while he was in Oklahoma City, you can make an argument that like Russell Westbrook was like, or it's like a 1-2, or Russell Westbrook was like the leader of the team. But in terms of leadership, I think Kevin Durant still has, he just happens to be the greatest scorer that any of us have ever seen. You know what I mean? It's like he's an anomaly just because his talent is overwhelming, or pre-surgery or pre-injury. Don't know how he's gonna look coming back, but you can make questions, or you can have questions on KD's leadership accolades as well.
That seems fair, but it's just like, okay, like if we assume like we basically I feel like we're collectively just like Kyrie can't be the leader, it won't work. But so it's just, and even if we're like, and if we hypothetically make the argument that like KD might not be the best dude for the job, there's still like, are you gonna be like, is the like leader Dinwiddie, or like
it should be? I like him.
Like he kind of seems like he would be the guy. But now to think about it, I don't even know how like some of the I should probably watch some next game. So I'm like, I don't know how he fits with Kyrie, or how anyone does for that matter. Dinwiddie
can kind of be your like your catch and shoot dude. Like he's a pretty good shooter, and he's a secondary ball handler. I can almost see some plays where they have him run the point and have Kyrie off ball.
Okay.
I don't know how those possessions are going to turn out, but I could definitely see them doing that.
This is just going to be a great partnership, or a great situation for KD and Kyrie, or once, like Calvin said, it could be a dumpster fire.
Also, probably a terrible situation for Nash to walk into now that I'm thinking about it, like as a coach.
All right. I think the most fun that we're missing from all of this is that we know whether it's good or bad, it's going to be extremely entertaining. And that's what I'm here for. Like that's the whole reason why we love the game, right? Like, yeah, like the game is special to us. It's an entertainment factor. That's part of the reason why I'm here. Like I love this partnership. Good, bad, or ugly. This is gonna be fun for me.
I can't even get mad, but like,
I
don't know. I don't, and like, I'm not sure I'm crazy about the idea of a man, like dreams or concepts of coaching basketball dash by a dude who believes the earth is flat in his first year attempting it.
Hey, Calvin, say that sentence again and tell me that wasn't the most fun sentence you've said all day.
That's fair. It sounds ridiculous. That's ridiculous.
Beautiful, bro. That is a book. That is a book that one man destroys your coach's dreams, all while being a flat earther.
Lord.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I got anything else you want to talk about?
So, I mean, no, honestly, the season's going to be approaching very quickly. So, and college is going to get, in full speed ahead very soon. So,
some tell me we're not going to, even in like conference play, it's not going to end well. Just like, I think there's going to be just as many cancellations, bro.
I think they see I don't know. I don't even know that saying. They're like they see it's like frickety frack. They see the destination, right? Is with the pandemic, like first person in the United States getting like vaccinated today. You know what I mean? Like I don't know why I put that in quotes, but they see like over the horizon, like okay, we're almost there. So I think there's going to be some underhanded things to keep things going. because like they're like, oh, we made this far, we're gonna keep pushing this thing. And I haven't heard talk about the NCAA tournament being in like the bubble anymore in Indianapolis, but that definitely was a thing they were talking about 2-3 weeks ago.
Yeah, I don't. Financially, I think it's going to be really hard for any bubble to come up because did you notice like there was a lot of bubble talk before the season started, and then those just fizzled out, and then ESPN was supposed to do a bubble, and then like there wasn't even like a follow up. It was just, oh, it's not happening no more. Like I don't know what's going on in the contract talks, but
the most recent game, University of Kansas, they had fans in the stands against Creighton.
Yeah,
I was like, oh, y'all smoking that dust. So I was like, y'all like, sure. They were doing too much, but. Once again, they're probably most schools are doing too much. Question: how's Iowa number 3 in the country?
Luka Garza.
Great. Yeah, Iowa. Luka Garza is like averaging almost 30 a game right now. Like, but they've also played bums, and then they have what is it? Bohannon, and I can't think of the other dude, but those are probably like 2 of the 10 best shooters in the country right now. And they're just chopping everything, bro.
They have
30. Like, can you imagine averaging 30 points in a game? That has to be like the most satisfying thing in sports, right?
Yeah.
If you win,
he has a point. No, literally, you're supposed to be focused on winning here, right? So just
I'm talking about this one thing because Kyrie don't average 30. Like when you average 30. That's a very let's say the NBA. That's a very small group of people. Like that's a very small group of people. Generally, they do win something. They win championships, but they win, right? They get to the playoffs, whatever. But like that has to be so satisfying. To like, how much are you averaging? 30.3. Well, I'm killing it. Like that's so nuts to me, man. That's wild.
But my understanding is they have a really, really good offense. But their defense leaves something to be desired.
Yeah.
So
that boy Luka Garza cannot move whatsoever in transition. That boy has lead feet. Like it's so good in the half court, but the minute you tell that boy to run, it's bad.
But also a lot of the games that I'm interested in watching keep getting canceled. This is like on the lower end of them, but like I caught a Morgan State game. I think they played Iona, right? Last week, like Tuesday or something.
Yeah.
And they basically controlled the game. And I'm like, wait, is Morgan State kind of fun to watch? So like I've been waiting to catch another game of theirs, but the 2 games they were gonna play after that, like, have both been canceled.
Yeah.
The one that was gonna be like Saturday, I think, and then like the Navy game is canceled. I think it's gonna be Wednesday. But it's not just like Morgan State. It's just lots of teams. Gonzaga and Baylor, for example, a lot of the men's games. The women, most of the women's games, a lot of like women's games seem to be going off more smoothly, I guess, or at least they haven't been canceled as much for better or worse.
Yeah.
Like Baylor's women's team is really good as usual. Like if you watch one women's team this year, from what I can gather, and I still haven't watched UConn, like you need to watch Baylor.
Yeah.
They're big, athletic, and skilled.
Also, DD Richards has probably one of the best stories in the NCAA this year after was this like a spinal contusion where she couldn't walk like a couple months ago, and now she's just eating young ladies on the court, bro. Like she's nice.
Yeah, she's a problem.
Yeah.
That spinal contusion though.
Yeah, her and another teammate ran into each other, like at practice, like full speed. It was really bad.
That's why I don't hustle.
Hey, that's the only way I was getting on the court. So, sorry.
Okay, I see you, dog.
Yeah.
Bro, I was athletic. That's all I had, bro.
You were athletic. It was weird.
Like caught Grambling women who like embarrassed Louisiana Monroe's women's team because apparently they don't have anybody who can dribble worth anything. Like I don't, and it baffles me because it's just like you're a D1 basketball team. Everybody else has point guard that can dribble up the floor, and even if they don't, they like can pass. That's the entire point of a press break. Like it was like Gremlins like deep bench riders were getting in the third. Like it was over early.
Yeah, right. That goes to show you the talent dip between mid-major and low major. And I know they're both low majors, so
Grambling State's mid-major.
What'd you say?
Grambling State's mid-major.
Mid-major? Since
I
when?
think
SWAC is mid-major.
Whoa. Okay, for categorizing purposes, I think most HBCUs, in general, they tend to be categorized low major.
Yeah.
Not always, but as a group.
And I refuse to call you a mid-major if the last time you let me pull this up so I don't look stupid. But if the last time you've made the NCAA tournament was when I was a teenager, I don't want to really talk to you about basketball.
You're not old, man. What are you talking about?
I'm 24, bro.
Yes, that's not old, man.
I'm not saying I'm old. I'm just saying I don't want to talk to you about being a mid-major.
You're a teenager 4 years ago.
In fairness, most teams didn't make it like most teams didn't make it then.
Yes,
like
that's a horrible metric. That's a horrible metric, Alex.
Okay, we're about to pull up the numbers, and if it's been like a decade since they've been here, I don't want to talk. I don't consider them a mid-major.
So Lehigh's not a mid-major?
You said what?
Lehigh is not a mid-major?
I'm not going to say nothing about that because their assistant coach follows me, so I'm going to be very nice and say they are.
So Norfolk is not a mid-major?
Okay, I got to shut up on Grambling State. They made it in 2018. I've been wrong before. It's whatever. Yeah.
Because like enjoying that logic, like Hampton's a mid-major according to that logic. Whatever happened to that dude at Howard this year? How's he doing?
He got hurt, right? Talk about this. I think he got sidelined with like a groin injury.
Hey, never mind.
Yeah, and that happened.
Like
he was trying to play through it the first couple games, but they're just like, yeah, we're just gonna sit you, not play it, like not gonna aggravate this. And like his teammates, they have potential, but they're hot garbage. If we're honest,
Dang, Colin, they have potential.
Baby,
it's an oxymoron.
No, here's the thing. You can have potential to be really good and not be really good right now.
Yeah.
But you didn't say that. You said hot garbage, and there's no way you go from hot garbage to really good, unless you're like in elementary school.
They can get I can see them like getting a lot better. But like I feel like something that's affected all teams though, and it affects teams like Howard, and like Georgia because of all the transfers and whatever. But like teams that have like a lot of new people, it's going to like that not being able to like play those like scrimmages and whatever prior to the season, those exhibition games, I think has affected the quality of basketball we've been seeing like early this season in general. And like that's aggravated a little by like I have no idea what's going on with the reffing in general, but like I think a lot of it for like a lot of teams is that they didn't get to have those reps early to start shoring up various issues that would have come up as soon as you play a scrimmage game or what have you. Leading to like collectively uglier basketball.
Yeah.
Being more pronounced with some teams than others. But yeah. And you know what, now I think about it, probably affecting the men more than the women because there's more turnover with the men's game.
Yeah. All right. In other news, I'm gonna keep this short for college basketball reasons. This might be the worst Kentucky season that we have seen in a very long time. Like, you know how usually they they figure everything out by February. I don't think we're going to get that this year. Like, I think they're going to look much better in February, but I don't think the boys going to play enough games to, do something special. They might have to win like the SEC tournament to definitely be locked in for whatever happens, unless they just
New Orleans Noel year, huh?
It's okay. It is going to be really weird because they're going to have like possibly like possibly 3 lottery picks, depending on how Jackson really like comes along. If he starts like shocking people and like their defensive numbers, like on-off numbers, get better, I think he might sneak into the lottery with Brandon Boston and Terrence. I forget that man's name. I know it's Terrence.
I've heard Duke's been looking kind of rough too.
You said who?
Duke has been looking kind of rough compared to.
Yeah, I refuse to give Duke any credit. Oh, Terrence Clark, that's his name. So Duke full of scrubs.
Yeah, we talked about Duke last week.
Yeah. But if that's it, I think we can go ahead and wrap this one up. You got anything else?
I think that about covers it as far as, yeah.
All right. Quiet week of hoops, so we get out of this one early, like 52 minutes in this thing. But thank y'all for listening to another episode of the Traveling Hoopers podcast. We do this, because we want to. I mean, y'all can introduce. Go ahead.
But once again, Calvin McGowan. Hope y'all enjoy listening to us. If you did, you're on YouTube, like, share, subscribe, hit the like button. And listen to us wherever you listen to podcasts.
Like Alan said, we do this because we want to. Obviously. No, I'm joking. But yeah, my name's Philip Dixon. You can follow me on Twitter at 65ResidentMo. But most importantly, is you can follow me on TikTok. And that is at the number 3 Masters Podcast. You can follow me on TikTok, following like that. I'm currently going viral right now for the second time, but it's what I do out here in these streets. Shout out to all the little kids on TikTok, make me feel good about my ego. And with that being the case, that is it.
Oh, what happened to your mixtape that you plugged or something a couple times?
Oh, I just recorded today. So okay. Watch out! I have a Christmas EP dropping. Christmas Eve, Christmas Eve, December 24th. I have a Christmas EP dropping, so watch out for that. It's gonna be dope.